Broadcasting from the Allen B. Levan NSU Broward Center of Innovation at Nova Southeastern University. Welcome to Sunshine Startups Live, featuring rockstar entrepreneurs, bright ideas, and experts on the startup ecosystem. And now your hosts of Sunshine Startups Live, Jim Ryan and John Wensveen.
Hi, and welcome to Sunshine Startups Live. I'm entrepreneur, investor, and startup enthusiast, Jim Ryan. Great to be with you again. Our podcast from the Levan Center. I'm joined, of course, by my good friend and colleague here, John Wensveen. John, great to be with you.
Great to be with you here on season 2. That almost rhymed. John Wensveen, the Chief Innovation Officer at NSU and the Executive Director of the Levan Center of Innovation, the world's first theme park for entrepreneurs. Today is a really special segment for me personally because we have somebody that is actually living and breathing Levan Center of Innovation, among other things. And watching the success go like a hockey stick is quite amazing.
And it's great to be in the presence of two celebrities today. John just post being on the Today Show.
Oh, yes.
And having his own...
So yesterday.
his own touch with being a celebrity. And Alexandra Baker, who is really a superstar here, being a part of the Levan Center early on, our accelerator program here. Launching her own product. It's Alexandra at Home, if you haven't heard of it. It's Pickles and more, and an award-winning celebrity hostess, or host, I should say, of HSN, and who I've watched her several times on HSN. And so happy to have you here with us, and thank you for taking the time out of an incredible schedule to be on our podcast today. So thank you.
Thank you, Jim. Thank you, John. It's an honor to be here. I feel very special, very lucky. But my company is Home with Alexandra, and its first brand, Jim, is In the Kitchen with Alexandra. Yes, we are going to shorten it. I have been using our social handle at MyPickliz, MyPickliz, and I'm sure you're going to ask me at some point, what is Pickliz?
Well, we're going to ask you that and a whole lot more.
I know what Pickliz is, by the way. So do all my neighbors.
We've had a few.
Yeah, I like Pickliz.
So,
thank goodness.
So we kind of bifurcate this a little bit, and because we like to do the to get to know you, and you've been here at the Levan Center, accelerating your business, and obviously working in partnership here, being an advocate, a supporter of entrepreneurship and the Levan Center. But talk about your background a little bit, where you grew up, and then what brought you to become sort of an entrepreneur and here and baking your company.
Wow, that's such a great question. Thank you. Both of my parents are from Haiti, and I was born in Chicago, and so raised in a subculture of Haitian parents and very strict upbringing. Both of my parents were kind of becoming more and more Americanized over the years, and so my very first language was French. Je parle français. That was always spoken in the house, and then as we became older, everybody just started speaking English more. So then the English became the first language. We did move to Florida in 1977, and I've always known from an early age that I had an entrepreneurial spirit, and my father really encouraged us to pursue our passion, but whatever we were going to do, we had to go all the way. My brother is a musician. When he started showing the interest in music, my father said, you have to go all the way. So he has a PhD and a double master's in music, composition theory, and performs all over the world. And so that's my background, and have spent so many years here in Florida, so I consider myself a Floridian. And that's it.
So you're a Floridian, you're an entrepreneur.
Yes.
And we got to know each other over the last couple of years and been watching some really interesting things happening. So before we get to what you're doing,
Okay.
let's talk a little bit about Home Shopping Network, because Jim opened up the door there for this award-winning title that you have.
Ooh.
What is this exactly?
So for the last 10 years, I have been on the Home Shopping Network in the capacity as an independent contractor. and I am an on-air guest host. That means in a specific category, and for me, the category was the home category, all things home with Alexandra. I would represent a variety of home products, home decor, seasonal decor, all of those beautiful lit mercury glass items that would be brought to you by Winter Lane, which is HSN's exclusive collection of holiday decor, and then lots of innovative products, whether it was really cool floor steamers that also converted into steamers that you would use all over your home, and lots of products in between, but all things home. And so I would be the product specialist, and I would interact with the host, and that's what I've been doing for the last 10 years. And then also, I would make and gift at holiday a condiment, a Haitian cuisine condiment called pickles, and it's this condiment that I would make at home, and I would gift it at the studio. And I would make a couple hundred jars each season, and the feedback was just phenomenal. And that's what led me to what I'm doing today.
And I'll say she's really good being the on-air host because I wanted to see what she did. So I watched a couple of times, and then I got on one of the episodes, and she was selling stoneware.
Yes.
And I bought 2 sets of stoneware, and now I have dinner for like 16, and it's actually really good quality. They don't break, dishwasher safe. Everybody loves them.
Yes.
Yeah. So I just want to put that little plug in there that what you're selling is good quality product. So
Well,
Jim's going to take it away with the
a
other.
showcase of
Yes.
the power of the pitch.
The power of the
and,
pitch. She
and
pitched.
and she is awesome and a rock star at that, and obviously rock star pitching other products. But wow, you've got your own product now. So let's talk about pickles, and you've got it here in front of us. You talked about growing up as a child and having pickles, and how did the product sort of manifest itself, and how did you go besides the, hey, let me kind of make this for a few others, to go from sort of this idea and home cottage business to where Pickles is today? Can you talk
Sure.
about that?
It never entered my mind to actually sell pickles, and so this was not something that I was making and bringing to the markets, the food markets or the fairs or anything like that. I never even made pickles for all of the fairs that we would go to every year for our daughter's school. You're always doing those school functions, and it never dawned on me to do that. The only time I would make pickles was around holiday. I wanted to always have extra gifts. I also make a rum-based drink called cremas, and cremas is like a sipping cream, okay? And so I would make those 2 things, and I would give them out like crazy. I never even thought about selling them. It wasn't until people would start coming up to me after gifting it for so many years, neighbors, families, friends, that they would say, I can't even find this at the store. I mean, it's cottage in the sense that your aunt comes over, my Aunt Tete would come over and bring a jar of pickles, and you could tell that the jar maybe had been used for something else in the past. And it's a coveted gift when your aunt would bring you the jar of pickles, because even though everyone knows how to make it in Haiti, and every nationality has some type of pepper sauce or slaw, in Israel they have shrug, you have sauerkraut in Germany. Everybody has some type of pickled item throughout the world. In Haiti, it's pickles. And it never dawned on me until so many people were asking me for it. And then when I would go to the stores that I love, Publix, the Fresh Market, Wegmans up in New York, or Whole Foods, not one jar of pickles could be found. In fact, not one jar of anything considered a premium Caribbean condiment could be found on the shelves. And that's when I felt like I'd stumbled upon in the marketplace. I've now found out it's a $245 billion marketplace, that the idea of premium Caribbean condiments does not exist. And so I really would like to be that first brand that says you can do something like pickles, but in a very elevated way. And that's what we do.
So we have 2 products sitting on the table with us here today, both amazing. I had a really rough day earlier this week, and I got home really late, and my wife had the patio all lit up with some stuff, and she had the hot honey waiting for me with a special cheese that she went to Whole Foods to go and buy for us, and that's what made my night. It was the hot honey and the cheese on this gluten-free cracker, because she's gluten-free, and a nice little sip of wine on the side. It was great. It should have been filmed because it would have been a great TV commercial for you. So let's talk a little bit about your journey. You fell into this by accident, and what you actually ended up doing is you identified a challenge and you came up with a solution, even though that wasn't really your intention. And now you're an entrepreneur and you're building a brand. It's not a product, you're building a brand that has great capability to scale and to do so at an accelerated pace. And I know that you had some success recently on air when you had a few moments to tell the world about this. Tell us that story.
So you would think, oh, HSN, the genesis of the brand was gifting this product at Home Shopping Network, and you would think, boom, just like that, they would say, oh, Alexandra, as soon as it's ready, we're going to have you on air. No, they said, no, you're going to have to go through the process and pitch the buyers and make sure it's something that works with what we're doing right now. Thankfully, yes, food has been growing on both QVC and Home Shopping Network. They are sister networks, both owned and operated by Q-Rate Retail. And there was interest. There was some concern as to whether or not the customer is going to love the spice level, but the way that I explained that this can be used in a variety of ways, we seem to have combated that. So we did launch. I had to go through the entire onboarding process and fill out all the paperwork, make sure all of the insurance, make sure all the T's were dotted, or I's were dotted, T's were crossed before we went on. So we launched December 5th. We had our second airing this week. So February 27th, just this week, we were on the second time, and it's wonderful. You're pitching to 100 million homes nationwide, saying this is what we make, and I'm showing her how you can spoon the pickles, which is 5 chili peppers, cabbage, carrots. It's shredded. It's pickled in white vinegar. I season it perfectly with lime and pink salt and garlic, and it's just divine. And then the hot honey that John loves so much is when we ultra puree the pickles and add it to amber honey, and it's just the best of both worlds, that heat and the sweet, but it's sting-free heat. And then sharing in front of myself and the host the different ways that you can pair the items, how you can cook with it. You can use it as an ingredient. You can marinate with it. You can spoon it into your ketchup, your mayo, your mustard, your guac, your salsa, your hummus. And when I show the consumer that, how easy it is to use, you're just selling lots of units, which I love that, selling so many units at one time. It was a 7-minute hit. I mean, our first time was 9 minutes and, 400 units went out the door, 500 on that day. And then each day since, we get up and we get a report that tells us how many we sold subsequent days after the show. So you're moving a lot of units at once. And that makes me very excited. And what makes me most excited is that we're seeing a very high percentage of repeat customers that are coming back second time, third time, fourth time. The other day, we saw somebody from our Amazon business, their 14th time purchasing our product.
What a great validation.
Yes.
Yeah.
So to me, that was really full circle. I had people coming from the set saying, Alexandra, it just dawned on me, this is your product. I mean, they're accustomed to me being on set to sell whatever they need me to sell, but they were like, Alexandra, these are your products that you're selling. I was like, yes. This is. They're like, oh my God, can I have a jar? I'm like, yes, you can have a jar. But they were so sincerely excited to see maybe one of their own selling something that they remember me coming in with the little mason jars and my little Etsy purchased labels years ago.
So awesome. Congratulations on the success. And, I mentioned earlier about the power of the pitch, and you are an extraordinary pitch person, and you could see it's in your DNA. I think you could have a piece of cardboard and showcase that and sell 10,000 units, because I think you're so talented. And
Should we try that right now? I actually have a piece of cardboard.
My father said I could sell water to a drowning man. I could sell sand to the Bedouins.
Exactly.
And he used to tease me about it.
And you could see that it's just part of who you are. And so congratulations on the success. But the CPG retail business is not an easy business. It's difficult. And there are a lot of people out there been trying to break in with a product that they've come in and so forth. But you've been able to, obviously part of who you are, we just talked about that. But what are some of the challenges that you've come across? Inventory management, coming up with formula, getting approval, getting out, surveys out in the marketplace, getting feedback. Talk about the challenges, because we talk about so much about the success portion of it. But there are a lot of challenges in a very, very difficult vertical market.
It's the most difficult thing I've ever done in my life. I said this was harder than having a baby, you know. And my husband and I, we had our daughter when we were 37, and it wasn't easy. And you know, I mean, it wasn't that hard, but you know what I mean. It was like this was the challenge of the challenges. And early in my career, I started in national advertising. I worked for Boca Raton magazine. I handled national accounts. And then I ended up at Tribune Company, again, selling national accounts, and Brides magazine. And I've always had a significant advertising list with major accounts. And and I remember thinking, I don't work hard. All those years, like a couple decades, I remember thinking, I really don't work hard, because I always represented products that pretty much sold themselves. This, I work very hard, and there are a lot of challenges, and it's really so mental. It's really about, you have to just keep on going. Product creation is not that hard. It was not difficult to find our incredible co-packer. I remember looking at all of the jars on the Florida local sections of Whole Foods and the Fresh Market and Publix to see, is there a co-packer that keeps coming back? And I found a couple of co-packers, and then we interviewed them and met with them, and that's how we found our co-packer. Going through the perfecting of the recipe and taking a lot of notes and working with the test kitchen at the co-packer, that's not necessarily the challenge. The challenge for us is definitely operating capital. How long do you continue to bootstrap? At what point do you say, we're drawing the line in the sand and we have got to get investors to help us with this? Because at first you're looking at all of the product that's produced, and you look at the mountain and you're thinking, how are we going to move all those pallets? Now it's, the pallets are gone. We have all of these people asking, where are we going to get the money to make more inventory? I mean, and that can become your problem very, very quickly. And then velocity. When do you know to go to retail and handle distributor fees, broker fees, and making sure that the product is actually being purchased every week? And so marketing, advertising, promoting your brand on social media when digital efforts seem to be incredibly saturated. And so, you know, it takes a lot of faith. You take it one day at a time. And you move in the direction that you feel has the most payoff. Does that make sense?
It does.
Okay.
So you're in a very interesting region of the country right now, South Florida, which is truly on fire for startup activity. And there's certainly ups and downs when it comes to the funding. And 2022 was a stellar year. 23 wasn't quite a stellar year, but it's starting to pick up again here in 2024.
Agreed.
A lot of things going on in the world as well, from politics to terrorism to war to whatever, and the future is really a little bit uncertain. So what I want to drive down to is into the funding. So I remember once we had a conversation not that long ago. I need $40,000 to make new inventory. I said, no, you need $4 million to build the business and to think big and not be afraid to think big.
Right.
And if you think about being a founder and a female founder, which honestly brings extra challenges to the environment. And we've had numerous female founders in here at different stages. And going back to Jim's idea about challenges, are you finding it challenging to identify funding sources? What kind of feedback are you getting? What is the market looking for? Just to paint a view of the ecosystem, because we have a lot of entrepreneurs at different stages listening to this and listening to you and learning from you. And we want to create more education awareness about the good, the bad, and the ugly. And what's it like to be an entrepreneur?
Yes. It can be challenging. I by design, you were talking about, I'm in sales in my DNA. On the flip side, my DNA, I don't spend too much time thinking about my own personal shortcomings in terms of I'm female, I'm a Black woman. I wasn't really raised to feel like any of that was a shortcoming, so you'll have to forgive me. But it can be. I do find that people ask a lot of questions. I have to make sure that the P&L and the cash statements and all of my documentation and that every single thing, as anybody should, but that all of my paperwork and all of my documentation is really in order, because there is a little bit more scrutiny, but that's okay. I'm accustomed to that. So It just means that I would never think of doing my own QuickBooks or anything like that. I have an accountant that does every single thing every single month. I don't take a chance at doing any of that on my own. I also sometimes feel like, okay, I'm CPG and I have a consumable product. I am not a tech company. I just feel like the shiny, sexy, darling penny is to be a tech company. I'm not a tech company. Will you look at us anyway? And then the thing with not being a tech company is that there's an expectation that you need to be at $500,000 or $1 million before venture capital or even private equity will really take you seriously. So then you have to turn to angel investors or individual investors. And then the individual investors, they can be passionate and they can be excited about you the first week, but then the second week they might have an idea on products that they think that you should add to the table. And sometimes they have really salient points like, wow, that was a really great idea. I hadn't thought of that. I'm so glad that you shared that. That's something that we're going to pivot and incorporate into the collection or add to our psyche. So you have to believe in who you are, and if maybe for us, our growth will be a little bit slower than, say, a tech company that's able to raise a lot of funds really fast. But I do believe that you can get there if you never give up. I know it sounds so Winston Churchill, but never, 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 never give up. I think this is what led me to my speech that I'm currently writing on why I think founders are like sperm.
Oh, tell us more.
Yes. I really believe that so many founders just kind of like sperm, they just kind of stop swimming. They're falling off by the millions. And it's not only the companies that make it to the end. Let's say the egg is the unicorn business, and then the eggs that are the sperm surrounding the egg are also those top companies. You got to go the distance and just not stop swimming. Okay, you have to, and and I'm a founder, and you said it's in my DNA. Sperm
I've never heard this
they are
analogy
determined
before.
to swim. Like they only know to swim. They only know they have a goal, and nothing deters them. And that's how you have to be, because those that make it to the finish line, they didn't stop. They didn't run out of cash, but they didn't stop. And I feel that that's why founders are like sperm.
Is this going to be a very visual book?
It's going to be a very visual speech. No.
Well, I was going to say, as an entrepreneur myself and the father of 3 children, I can relate. I
think we all can relate.
I hear you, and
like a science
preaching
class.
to the choir, but that's
There you go.
that's certainly a unique analogy, and I love it. I love that you use that. But look, the Levant Center here obviously has been an advocate of yours, and it's been a beautiful relationship.
Balm to my soul.
Absolutely.
I like to say.
How has the Innovation Center here helped you and helped your business? You talked about being here for Pitch Day. But how has the accelerator here helped support you, and what have you gotten out of it?
It is not just about the accelerator program, which I'm so grateful. I'm so happy that whoever made the decision, if it was John, if it was Yap, or any of the board members, whoever made the decision that In the Kitchen with Alexandra could participate in that cohort number 2, which was last March, so March 2023 through June of 2023. I marvel at the amount that I have learned in that time, that I learned in that particular time. But from March until the end of 2023, all of that time, the relationships, the conversations, the emails that went back and forth between the cohort members, the individuals that I met outside of the cohort, all of the activity, the community that I became part of, this ecosystem within the walls of the Levant Center, and then how it reached outward. Everything came back to the center, being the Levant Center. For me, for my husband, for both of us in this business together, all of 2023. I mean, it was a 180. What the knowledge that I had, put it this way, I didn't even know there was such a thing called the small business ecosystem. There's an ecosystem, like there's a group of us. I mean, I knew that I was an entrepreneur, but this whole you're a founder of a startup and there's this ecosystem and there's all of these people who are coming out with new product. I mean, I kind of knew that, but at the intensity and then having such a clear understanding of what is a business, what is it comprised of, and how do you actually scale your business past the point of coming out with incorporation, the name, the logo. You know, there's a little more to it than just that. All of that was because of the Levant Center. And I have people that call me and say, do you think it's worth it if I do incubate or accelerate? You know, should I do this program, Alexandra? Don't look at it as just the program. It's the program and the community. Everything that is from being at the Levant Center. I mean, I can't stress that enough, because if you're only looking at it, is it worth it? You know, 3 days a week. John will tell you, I was here 3 days a week for the cohort actual meetings, but then I would stay all day because I was able to finish so much work. My personal ability to complete more work. My brain is, I feel like, what happened to my brain this morning? What is the word? Your productivity. My productivity was so affected on the days that I would be here all day. And then you run into somebody as you're grabbing coffee, and your whole understanding of AI and ChatGPT or Google Gemini, I mean, everything completely changes for you from one little conversation when you were grabbing a cup of coffee. I had to do an application for a grant.
So you just killed Pepper.
Oh, I'm sorry, Pepper.
She just keeled over, literally.
I was filling out a grant application. I left my house and I came to Levant. I was the only person here last night. And I came to fill out the application, film the video, upload everything. Why? Because my mind works differently when I'm within the walls of the Levant Center.
So it's a collision station, and you're colliding, right? You're forcefully putting entrepreneurs together with academia, industry, government, funders, professional network service providers, and a whole lot more. And you found your tribe.
Yes.
And once you found this tribe, you're now linked to other tribes throughout the South Florida region and beyond that all have the same common interests, the common challenges, and you get to speak to each other and understand each other, which is pretty fascinating. And interestingly, I do remember when your application was put in for our program, and I will tell you, and I'll throw my team under the bus, that you almost didn't get in because it wasn't tech focused. And I remember having a very specific conversation that there's nowhere in our mandate that says that we have to be about technology. And it was a good lesson to learn that we now follow. Are we investing in a product or a service? And I wanted to know what other people had to say. And everybody had an idea. Yeah, it's a product or it's a service. I said, that's interesting. Have you ever thought about investing in a person? And are we investing in the person that has the ability to take this solution to the next level, whether it's tech or non-tech? Maybe it's a future tech company. Maybe it's a technology platform by chance distributes Pickleys, and now you're a tech company. So there were some interesting debates over your application, which then paved a way for how we look at all applications moving forward. And Jim will appreciate, as an investor, you're also investing in the individual, and do they have the ability to get it? And there's right people, there's wrong people, there's right plans, wrong plans, there's right money, there's wrong money. And what I like about watching where you're going is that I think you have a right plan. I think you've got the right people, and you're going to build upon the team. And you're good in the sense of being able to identify right money versus wrong money. It's okay to say no. It's okay to delay if you can keep yourself in business and move forward. Yeah. And I think there's some lessons, direct and indirect, that you've just said to the audience that were listening. So normally, I have a Rubik's Cube on the table here.
Okay.
It's a virtual augmented reality.
It's a virtual
one right
augmented.
now.
Yes, this is the we're taking things to a new level. It's actually right there. You don't even see it.
I see it.
I forgot it today. I feel bad. He forgot his iPad. Everything's it's that whole the full moon thing that's been going on.
I'm sure.
And I like to ask a question, and it just comes out of my head, whatever it is. And honestly, I don't even know what it is right this second. But here we go. So, you're very visible. You're on TV. You're in the founders community. A lot of people know who you are, and more will. You have a very magnetic personality, an endless smile that it's infectious, and people like you. What's something that the world doesn't know about you that you've never disclosed?
I am very active. I love to, I'm a doer. I move. There's a lot of action. There's a lot of movement. I also find I can literally lay in my bed and read or watch my favorite. Now that's nothing that's great, but it's what I'm watching. I love anything and everything that has to do with history, preferably English history. For the last 2 days, I have been watching Secrets of the English Cathedrals. Oh. So you name the cathedral. I could probably tell you the year it was built. I could tell you what type of stone. I could tell you why some of the fan vaulting. I want to be there. I can almost smell it. I don't know. It's something that you would not think of when you see me. She has a passion for all things English and history and these cathedrals. And yes, I'm
I would have brought a spot of tea for you if I knew.
I put down more Earl Grey tea than today. Tea was 2 for $1 at Publix, and I bought 100 bags of Earl Grey tea.
Well, you'll have to come by my office. I actually have a tea cozy and a teapot.
A teapot.
And I stew my teapot and bring in real tea.
Real tea,
yes, and
loose tea.
I bring in my loose tea.
With
I
your
know
strainer. Yes,
Liz,
I could do a whole thing just on tea. Yeah,
So now you could get your tea and your pickles
Yes.
right there on the aisle. So.
Well, I'm going to have, these products will be at Selfridges.
Oh, no kidding.
And Harrods.
No kidding.
Yes, because premium product. And, with the, obviously, England and definitely London is such a melting pot now. You have a lot of spice-loving consumers in that market. So in the not-too-distant future, I would love to see our products on the shelf. I'll do special packaging for them, but Selfridges, I'm sure you can recognize the yellow on my, I went right down to the Pantone color, and doing special packaging for Selfridges and Harrods because both of these products belong there.
I love that idea, and you talk about like what's next for you. We've got about a minute left, so I wanted to talk about, you mentioned about, hey, I'd love to get more international.
Yes.
What's next for you and the product?
Well, there's no question that we can do lots of brand extensions. So whether it's barware, tabletop, textiles, there's a lot that can fall under In the Kitchen with Alexandra. There's so much that can fall under Home with Alexandra. But we've got, before I get distracted or not appearing to be, in the correct lane, we have to have great success with the food items, and that can even go all the way and be sold off. And then I can continue with lots of products under Home with Alexandra. That was probably the smartest thing that we did, is that the company is Home with Alexandra. The brand is In the Kitchen with Alexandra. So that gives me a lot of kind of like Skinny Girl cocktails. Mm-hmm. The brand Skinny Girl still belongs to Bethany Frankel, but Skinny Girl Cocktails belongs to the big global liqueur company that she was able to sell the cocktails to. So I'd like to mirror something like that. So there's lots that can be done.
And are you still looking for funding?
Absolutely,
Very
Jim.
good. Well, and how do potential investors reach you?
Sure. Well, our social media is at My Pickles, and Alexandra Baker is on LinkedIn. I don't have multiple LinkedIns. It's just Alexandra Baker. And my email is alexandra@homewithalexandra.com.
Well, congratulations on the amazing success. And John, I don't know if you have any parting words, because this has been a tremendous success story for here at the Levan Innovation Center. So,
yeah, I mean, we're still early on, and we have some really great success stories coming out. And I use Alexandra as an example. Every tour that we give, I did one this morning, and I explained, here's the different things that are coming out of here and the successes. And I always position you as where you started, where you are, and where I believe you are going. So my only disappointment with today is that we actually didn't get to eat any pickles.
well, that's post-show.
Oh, is that post-show? Oh, okay. All right. I'll brew the tea, and we'll have some
brew
pickles.
some tea, yes.
But thank you for everything that you're doing as a brand ambassador for us, because it's success that breeds success. And we can build the best theme park for entrepreneurs in the world, but if we don't have people using the rides and promoting what we do, then it's not a win-win for all. So we thank you for everything you do in the community.
Thank you, John. Thank you so much.
So
Thank you, Jim.
we're going to have some pickles, but for those consumers that want to purchase the product, where can they go to pick up a jar or
You
two
can-
or 5.
Oh, yes, yes. Remember, it is a giftable. They're individually boxed. They're beautiful. Right now on InTheKitchenWithAlexandra.com, we also have an Amazon store. So look for Alexandra's Pickliz, Pikliz, on Amazon. And then, of course, right now, you can go to the Home Shopping Network, hsn.com, and all three, we have a double pack of each of the products, as well as a combo pack, one of each, that does very well on hsn.com right now.
Well, continued success. I'm thrilled about your movement, the energy, the enthusiasm. I love who you are, everything that you've done. I love the product, so keep it up. Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Alexandra Baker, thank you so much for being on the podcast today.
Bye-bye.
Remember to subscribe, like, and share the Sunshine Startups Live podcast and follow us on social media. If you're interested in sponsoring or appearing on the show, please email us at booking@sunshinestartups.live.